Yeah.
So yeah, Robin's death really impacted you in a way, didn't
Yes.
it? Yeah.
This was. I mean, previous to that, of course, it's giving birth is the great awakening, because here you are actually creating life. This was a massive thing, and I know that I wanted to be aware. It was the new way of having babies at that time, was the natural childbirth. So you did it without drugs, so you could be totally compass, and I wanted to be, absolutely. And so we had mirrors at the bottom of the bed. This was all, the new childbirth, so that you could be totally aware of what was happening. And I know that in that moment, in those moments, it felt like a magic space. Now I would say it was because there was presence, but I didn't know that. I only knew it was magic. And then later on, a little bit later, when I'm close to somebody, actually there with somebody dying, it's the same magic that's about. That's odd, I thought. Questions, you see.
Yeah.
What is that then? I don't know. Yeah. Just beginning to ask questions.
Yes. And so, towards the beginning of near the beginning of your part 2, Naked.
Part two.
You actually went to an encounter. I think it was a 48-hour encounter group.
Oh yeah.
So what happened there?
Oh well, because by this time I just thought I'm completely screwed up. I've lost the plot and all these questions.
So why did you think that? Why did you think you'd lost the plot?
Well, I guess really, if you go really down the route was the unhappy marriage. So what I'm actually trying to do is change myself so that I can fit in with him, so that...
Yeah, so he was your husband.
Yes.
Yeah, was a very Mick Goff.
Michael Goff.
Michael
yes.
Goff. Yeah,
Actor.
was a very successful actor.
Yes.
And I think you already had one. You already had one child before that. Is that right?
Yes.
And I think he had children beforehand as well.
Yes.
So you'd both been. He had 2 marriages before then, I think, hadn't he? So you had a bit of experience, both of you, and you came together, but it was still a very challenging relationship.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I think. Yes. I just the thing was that he was much older than I was, and I was so beautiful. I have to say, I was so beautiful, and he really, really loved me. But the way that he loved me was to be totally possessive, and then be angry. So I'm trying to make this work. And in the end, I think, that's it. I'm obviously, completely neurotic, and I need help. What I need is I need some therapy. I need some therapy. So then, of course, just as I'm thinking this is what I need, there is lovely Persephone,
yes,
my friend, who says, no, don't worry about that. Come along and do this group with us this weekend. So I did. I jumped into this 48-hour marathon encounter group. Well, I had never seen anything like this before. I mean, people were shrieking and yelling and fighting, and they were all in there naked. And
so how was this for you?
I thought, this is wonderful. I'm not mad at all. I'm the same as everybody else. We're all completely screwed up. It's great.
Yeah.
Yes. And of course, by the end of it, one's going into the very sort of quiet, loving places, which is where you get to when you've offloaded all your madness. Then, yes.
So you felt on the one hand, you're not alone insofar as other people with the same frustrations, and then you also were able to experience a kind of peace or comparative peace afterwards.
Yes.
Which is very valuable. Yeah.
Yes.
So it gave you a taste for more, I guess, did it?
I guess it. Yes, well, of course it did. Of course it did. Yes. I wanted to. I mean, this was the beginning of the growth movement in London. This was, this is just. It was happening in California, of course, and the therapists were. It was all the new. That was the new therapy. I mean, this was in the 70s, early 70s.
Yes.
And, on the other hand, I was reading Ram Dass and Be Here Now, and I was getting as much as I could to feed this really spiritual need. It was a search. As I was beginning my search, this was the beginning of consciously saying, okay, now I'm in search of Who I am would be.
It's a very fundamental question.
You see,
who am I? That's right.
Who is this? What is the whole thing about? And in a way, because I had seen what very successful people, how they behave, these very successful people. So what I saw was that there's no point in searching for riches or fame or any of that. That's not going to give you the goodies. Something else is afoot here, and I'm not finding the answers. So yeah.
Because I know from the book you knew some very successful and famous people who just weren't. I think you mentioned Peter Cook quite a few times, who just weren't very happy.
Peter Cook, lovely Peter Cook, talented Peter Cook, brilliant Peter Cook, and I think that in a way he was too much for himself, and so he kind of ate himself up. This world wasn't enough for him. He was too bright a light, So yeah.
Anyway, you went off to Thailand.
Went travelling in Thailand, and the experience in Thailand that really struck me was that I met this young German man who, along the way, and at one point I came across him. He's standing in the road with bare feet, a little cotton bag. And he says, no, I've just had my passport and all my money stolen. So he had nothing at all. And he was totally at peace with his little flute. And I was saying, oh, how terrible. Oh, my God, how awful. And he was just going, well, I don't know. I don't know. And he was blowing his little flute. And I looked then and thought, whatever he's got, I want. I want to be able to stand naked, as it were, on the planet and be totally at home in myself. However he's got there, I'm in search of that.
Did you find out how he got there?
Yes. Well, later on.
Go on, sorry, I'm interrupting.
Oh, well, no, because that comes later in Goa, after Bhagwan.
So I know you've already mentioned Persephone, the Tasmi Persephone, which is Persephone Arbor, who we've already done an interview actually on Conscious TV, her story, lovely lady.
Yes.
And she was quite an influence, wasn't she, in those times, guiding you or encouraging you to take steps in, shall we say, spiritual movements.
Yes. And
she'd become a disciple of Bhagwan Shree Rajneesh.
She suddenly turned up in all her orange clothes and that definitely, what she's done it. This is very brave. But it took me a little bit longer before till I could, to get to the point where I could say to Mick, listen, I've got to have a break here. I can't do all this domestic stuff anymore. I'm dying actually here. So I've got to go off and do something else. And I went to London, and I thought, I know. You know how you do things. You have no idea what a massive, impact it's going to have. I thought, I'll go and do that meditation thing that Persephone has done. And then out of that, I'll become clearer, and then I'll see which direction I want to go in. I had no idea. So of course I went along and did the Bhagwan's 10-day meditation, introductory meditation, and then that was the first time that I heard him actually speaking on
tape.
Yeah. And then that was the most amazing thing. That was the most amazing thing, because all of a sudden, off this tape recorder is coming this voice of this person who's telling me exactly what I was thirsting to hear. It was like, I write in the book, it was like water on falling on a parched desert, I just felt, this. So then it was simply a matter of time before, get my ticket together, I'm going to India. This is it. I've got to go and be with this being. I have to go and sit at his feet.
So you left your husband with the children.
Left hubby with the children.
And off you went to Pune.
Excuse me, I've got to go and do this.
Yeah.
And by this time he was like, whatever it takes, go and do it,